So hi everyone and welcome again. I am Yvonne Heath of Love Your Life to Death, and we are commemorating and celebrating National Grief Awareness Day. The celebration is the fact that we are having these conversations, and we need to have these conversations. And so I am here with my friend, you're my friend Forrest, just so you know, my friend Forrest Willett. We've met a few times now, and I saw you when you spoke in Aurelia. You shared your story on stage, and then there are three of us with Peter Jennings. We shared our stories in Barrie, and I read your book, and I'm going to show it right here. Finding Forrest, a book everyone should read. And I loved it. And thank you so much for taking the time. How are you doing today?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, and you know, I know you're doing excellent. And part of that is your incredible resilience and intentionally being excellent. And I love the fact that you have had, I don't love that you've had a lot of grief in your life. I love what you have created in spite of it, because of it. So if you could share for us a little of your story, even just from childhood, and then the life-changing event, and what it brought you to, and how you're being such an amazing light in the world now.
Sure, I can start from my childhood, and I always share with people that I had a really rich childhood. And I'm grateful for the gifts I was given by my mother and father of love, kindness, compassion, and empathy. You see, I grew up in an extremely violent and abusive home. Mm. And for that reason, my mother left when I was 6 years old and never returned, not even to this day. But the gift they gave me was how not to treat another human being. Mm. And I'm so grateful to have been given that gift at a young age. And I knew that all the feelings that I did not want to feel growing up. You know, I wanted to feel loved and accepted. And so I made that my mission as a young child, that everyone that I would meet would be greeted with love and appreciation and acceptance. And that's done really well for me in life. And I've grown up to have a great life. And then in October 2002, I thought I was on top of the world. I had 7 businesses, several homes, and, thought I made it. And I'm on top of the world. I had a car for sale, and the gentleman wanted to take it on a test drive. And he was speaking on the cell phone to his son at the time, and he lost control of the car. And the car flipped end for end at a high rate of speed. And I woke up 10 days later in a trauma center with a catastrophic brain injury. So then I had to relearn everything again, how to walk and talk, how to read and write. Everything was just, it felt like someone pulled the rug out from under me. And the biggest grief that I had to deal with, I think, is that I feel like I lost myself. I wasn't the same person I used to be. I wasn't the same dad, the same husband. Wasn't the same friend. It wasn't me anymore. So it was a lot of grief going through that, and I fell into a deep pit of depression and despair for a long time. And then one day I was watching TV, and this gentleman came on TV named Jack Canfield, creator of Chicken Soup for the Soul, and with his new book, The Success Principles, how to get from where you are to where you want to be. And I remember hearing this on TV and pulling the blankets off my head and sitting up thinking, I don't know where I want to be, but I don't want to be here anymore. And he went on to ask the question, what would you do if there were no limitations, if anything were possible? And as I'm laying there in bed, I thought, what would I do? Not only would I learn to overcome this depression and anxiety, I would help others overcome it. And I would also learn to read and write and become an author, and learn to speak fluently, and become a speaker like this guy that I'm seeing on TV. And so after 5.5 years of speech therapy and occupational therapy, I shared my dream with whoever I could, even though it sounded like a crazy dream, that I wanted to be an author and write books. And at the time I was writing books, I was reading them, called Bernstein Bears.
Love that.
Children's books.
Yeah.
So I was in my 30s reading a book for a kindergarten child, and a lot of work and turn things around. And I like to share with people that it doesn't matter your current circumstances, your background, or what you've been through in life. If you want to make a change in life, you can. You're not stuck. You're just afraid to do what's next. A lot of us feel like we're stuck in life, and we had a bad thing happen in our life, or a loss of a loved one, and think, well, I can't go on. And it's just not true. We can go on and move forward. I lost a younger stepbrother this year to suicide on my birthday.
Oh.
And it really affected me, but we have to move on. And it's nothing that we had control over. Sometimes people do things without thinking of what the outcome is or how it affects other people. So I share that with people that, there is hope for people. There's always a way out. It's not always easy. You can go through things that are really difficult, but sometimes people don't want to do that. But there is hope for everyone to move forward.
My goodness. And you, my goodness, Forrest, you are such an incredible example of that, because when I say grief shows no mercy and it arrives unannounced and uninvited, and everything you went through in your childhood was enough grief to go through, right? And then and despite all that, you built your life and you became a loving, compassionate person and a husband and a father. And this catastrophic accident in 2002, and everything that you had to, the surgeries and everything you share in your book that you had to go through and overcome in that. I mean, it was layers of grief and challenges and losses. And I love that you heard Jack Canfield's words, and ironically, that book, Success Principles, was also a turning point in my life. I didn't go through something catastrophic. I was just a nurse who could no longer ignore grief, and I followed that, and it changed my life. And you didn't even, I'm going to brag on you, Forrest, because you deserve it. Not only, like drum roll please, not only did you learn from Jack Canfield, you became friends with, worked with, and the 10th year edition or 10th anniversary edition of Success Principles. Yes, what's special about that, Forrest?
Well, my story is at the forward of the book.
Yes.
Like Jack says, it sets the tone of what's possible when you apply these principles. And, 15 years ago, I couldn't even spell New York Times bestseller, and now my story is the biggest story in that book. And,
love it.
With over 1 million copies in print. So who would ever think, when you're way down, you never think that I could even be normal again, or I could achieve something. But to achieve something great, you can. And the way that happens is when you share your dreams with other people. A lot of times you think, oh, I'd like to open a business, or I'd like to move. But that's too big of a dream. You keep those dreams inside. People don't know what you want. So when you share your dreams with others, people come out of the woodwork to help you. And it doesn't matter whether you want to write a book or you want to speak all over the world. Those if I told somebody that 15 years ago when I was in speech therapy that I'm going to travel all around the world and speak to thousands of people would probably think that you're crazy. But I shared that dream, and people helped me and made it happen. And now I've spoke in over 9 different countries around the world. It's just amazing how life can turn around.
It's incredible. Your story is incredible.
I think it's also what happened was I made my mess my message. And
Mm,
a lot of times you go through things that are messy in life, and
mhm.
we're ashamed of them, and you're ashamed to talk about things like depression and anxiety and suicidal thoughts. And when I became open about it, that's when things started to heal. And when I was able to share with people how I was feeling, I'm depressed, and I don't want to be like this anymore, and I don't want to be on these depression pills or anxiety pills anymore. So I started sharing that with my doctors, and they made a plan and helped me get off of all the pills. So I traded my depression pills for running shoes,
Mm,
and I've been off all medication completely since 2007.
wow.
And so a lot of times I hear people say, "Well, I'm on these depression pills, and the doctor says I'll be on them for the rest of my life." There is hope that you can get off them, and you can live a wonderful life that you love every day, and you can love your life to death.
Oh, thank you for that. Well done. Thank you. I didn't even ask him to do that, I promise. Oh my goodness, Forrest. And I have to say that you are in person, you are just as genuine and compassionate and authentic as your words are right now, because I know when we were in I think it was when we were in Aurelia and you were speaking, and there was a young girl who was really struggling in the audience, and you just, I could just see you just kind of put everything else aside to go and speak to her and connect with her. And you said to her, you can call me and I can be here for you. And I could just feel your compassion. And I would encourage everybody. I thank you. And I have to say, I'm sending so much love to your family, and I'm sad to hear about your stepbrother. And that is one of the most challenging journeys to navigate. And so I'm sending your family love. And I would encourage anyone, no matter what you've been through, like honestly, your book is on, like, it's one of my reach for books. When, if I'm having a little pity party, or I just need a little boost, or, oh, this is too hard, I think, okay, why don't I tell Forrest how challenging this is? Because I mean, you overcame insurmountable odds, and I celebrate that, and thank you, because what you have become is a light in the world to give each other other people hope in their grief, in their struggle, in their life's challenges, to turn their mess into their message, and create a life you love. And um, your website, is it forrestwillett.com?
Yes.
I encourage everyone, go to forrestwillett.com. You will learn more about Forrest. Any parting words, Forrest?
No, I would just say, remember to love and appreciate yourself, and appreciate others. A lot of times we feel like we work so hard and we're not appreciated, and it all starts with you. And when you appreciate yourself and you start appreciating others, it will come back to you, and you
Beautiful.
will appreciate it.
We have the same message as I tell people: just show up for yourself first. You have value and you matter, and just show up for others. We're in this together, and yeah, loving yourself first, your weird, flawed, imperfect best self, right? My kids say, Mom, you're so weird. I say, oh my goodness, thank you. Forrest, yes, thank you so much for taking the time to be here today on this National Grief Awareness Day. I know that you would be happy that we're having these conversations, opening up these dialogues, and I especially appreciate men need to have these conversations and not be ashamed of their stories and their struggles. Let's all just show up for each other with love and compassion, and we can get through this together. So yes, thank you so much. Thanks everyone. Bye for now.
Thank you.